So, Evan,
Jay.
what are the 6 human needs?
Okay, so this is what I learned from Tony Robbins.
Okay,
Okay,
yes.
So I had the privilege of going to 2 Tony Robbins events last year.
Huh.
They were awesome. And one of the things that he talked about were the 6 human needs. So they are certainty, uncertainty, significance, love,
Yep.
growth, and it'll come to me.
Uncertainty, love, growth.
And contribution. My man.
Dang, whoever bought the camera.
Growth and contribution, yes.
There you
All
go.
right. All right, so when he mentioned this, it just struck me how jiu-jitsu like encompasses all of that, right? So with the human needs, the first 4 are usually the people have like significance. I'm sorry, not significance. Certainty.
Yeah.
Certainty would be like you need to have certainty that you're going to have a roof over your head.
Yep.
Certainty, you could be certain in just your way of being. Like, I need to be right. I need to be right about this. I need to be right about that. But people need certainty, right? They need a certain amount of certainty. And for a lot of people, that's their number one need. The next one is uncertainty or variety. So it could just be like, going out to a club, going out to dinner, meeting new people.
Something to strive for.
Something to strive for, the unknown, something new that you're learning, a book that you're reading, like when you're reading a book, the uncertainty of what's going on. Significance, this is a real big one. The idea to feel significant and important in your life. We all have egos. Just doing this video, I'm sure you feel significant when you do these things, and you get a lot. You get a lot of views.
I would cry every night.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. It's okay. But no, that's like a big thing. Osama bin Laden. That was his biggest human need, significance. Imagine if you can get a couple of guys together to go and fly and hit the Twin Towers and do all this other shit. Now you're world famous, like instantly.
His Twitter.
Right? Yes. Yeah. Love and connection.
Mine is definitely significance. I'm big on that.
Oh, absolutely. Without a doubt.
Look at my jacket.
Yes. Yeah. Just walking down the street.
And I made you wear that, basically.
Yeah.
You didn't want to wear it. You're like, all right, let me dress
this
like
is
that.
like a knockdown jacket. I gotta compare a little bit here. Yeah.
Like a leopard.
But just to kind of relate that to jiu-jitsu. So like certainty is like there's classes every day or almost every day. There's a certain schedule that you can go to. I know that I can go to class and I know what I'm going to get. I know that I know what class is going to be like. I know that there's going to be techniques taught every day. I know pretty much a lot of people who are going to be there. I know that we're gonna train and roll hard afterwards, and I know how I'm going to feel. So that's a certainty. Uncertainty is I don't know what the instructor is going to teach. I don't know who's going to be my training partner. I don't know who I'm going to be rolling with. I don't know how I'm going to do, whether I'm going to do well, whether I'm going to get
rolling is where you
sparring,
spar,
yeah.
Not Molly or weed. Okay,
none of that stuff.
Let's get the
rolling is like
what do you say?
It's basically 2 people. They call it rolling because you're like wrestling and rolling around on the mat.
Fully clothed,
layers. For the most part.
Okay,
yeah,
this is not ancient Rome.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the uncertainty. Significance is anytime you do well. Anytime you execute the technique properly, you can feel significant. Anytime you're sparring or rolling with somebody, and if you tap them out, that you can feel significant from that. You can feel significant if you're getting your butt kicked and you're able to just survive and you escape. That's significance. The fourth one, love and connection. So this isn't necessarily love like a romantic love, obviously, but anytime you're touching somebody, rolling around, you're connected with them, right? So, and you're just doing
the bond.
Yeah. So you're literally, you're not really trying to kill each other, but you're going hard and you're trying to submit that other person, and they're trying to submit you, right? You're trying to get them to tap out. You're trying to choke them out. You're trying to manipulate their joints or cut off their airwave, but it's all safe, right? But you're connected. And actually, Hickson Gracie, who I spoke about earlier, he talks about connection and connection with when you're rolling with somebody, when you're training with somebody. His is on a whole other like enlightenment level that I don't even want to get into. Then growth and contribution. So growth and contribution of the 6 needs, these are how you actually get fulfillment in life. And you were asking me, does jiu-jitsu give me more meaning? Well, it fulfills me, right? So I did have the privilege of teaching very briefly for morning class for a while. The instructor came back, so I had to give the class back to him, which was great. But anytime that's contribution, basically. So contributing.
And you can't contribute if you don't grow.
Yeah,
it's like trying to fill up my water. I'm trying to fill my water up.
Yeah.
And your water, but there's no water.
Yeah. So the growth part of it is you're always learning something new. Literally every single class, I learn something new. There's nothing that's like, oh, I got to do this again, or oh, I got to do that again. So I'm always growing. There's always something that you can review, always something that you can get better at. So it's just constantly growing, right? And then the whole contribution part of it. So even though I'm not like a main instructor or anything like that, or even it's just a lot of guys who are lower belts. They'll ask me questions.
So you like a mentor or mentee?
Yes, and I'll do my best to answer any questions that they have to help them, because I was in their shoes and I want them to get better. When they get better, I get better, and just seeing them roll. And be more successful and do that's contribution.
Huh. So how many people have you really hurt?
How many people have I really hurt?
Yeah. Has that happened or no? It's not that dangerous, right?
Yeah. So here's the thing. It's when you do jiu-jitsu, it's not a matter of if, but when you get injured. It's kind of like riding a motorcycle. It's not a matter of if, but when you're going to go flying off of it, or an ATV.
Has anything happened to you?
Oh yeah.
Anything traumatic?
No, I mean, so
all right, well, that's good.
So I mean, I was in a position. I got a shoulder injury last year. I had a torn. It was like a partial tear of my front, whatever this is, front deltoid. So I was out for a couple months, and then you just make adjustments. I've had knee minor. I would say like not major, but like somewhere between minor and like intermediate knee injuries, where I was out for 5 or 6 months. I've been fortunate that I've never had to get surgery.
That's good.
Yeah.
Now, so there are pros and there are cons depending on your perspective or your level of I guess enlightenment in the context of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
What would your biggest advice be to someone that is interested in jiu-jitsu?
Try it out. Just come. So every jiu-jitsu school has typically like a free trial, whether it's 1 time, 1 week, 1 month. But here's the thing. You have to put your ego aside.
Yeah.
Right? So I see it all the time.
I can imagine how much that could help someone grow.
Yeah.
To put their ego aside.
So I'm friends with a guy. He's a jiu-jitsu instructor, and he's when his sons were younger, like his son was like 13, right? So he thought this would be a good idea. A full-grown man who's a police officer, okay, who has to defend himself and can't lose in real life, right? Who is in like real life and death circumstances all the time. It could be at any time. Never did jiu-jitsu before. Came down to the school. He said, "Okay, you're going to roll with my son," and his son beat him. His 13-year-old son beat the guy.
His 13-year-old son
submitted him.
Beat the cop.
Beat the cop.
So then what happens?
So then the guy's ego is bruised and he never comes back.
That's tough.
So he learned from that. So now when you come down, I think what he changed the policy so that you don't spar for a while. Like you don't spar for maybe a couple of months.
Well, it's a bad business strategy.
Yeah. See, he realized.
Everybody.
Yeah. So he didn't realize. He thought it was like, okay, well, this is how effective it is. A 13-year-old could beat you. But what that does to...
It triggers the instinct
typically response. A man is your ego is crushed and you don't want any part of it. Right? It's that was a fluke. Yep. I'm just in denial.
Yep.
But the bottom line is a 13-year-old beat you. Now, the guys that he's going against on the street, these crackheads and stuff like that, are not nearly as skilled as that 13-year-old, because that 13-year-old was doing it since he was 5.
Wow.
Okay, so he's got 8 years under his belt, and even though he's
not to mention we undervalue
a kid,
the value of people.
Right.
We say you're too young for the first 40 years of your life, and then we say you're too old for the last 40 years.
Right.
That's the next video.
Well, I'm going to be young always, so.
Guys, Evan
Jay.
Mars. No,
Zaremba.
Zaremba.